Not even the eye, not even... What it was for me is when he started staggering around. Our train boxes, like, if any of them at the start of a round didn't have a feel underneath them, how can you send them back out there? Like, you're sending a man out who can barely stand up to go and get hit by Daniel Dubois, one of the biggest punchers in the world. It was, the last couple of rounds I didn't enjoy it actually, as good as it was. It started to get a bit like, what am I watching? I know it's tough and that, but no matter how tough you are, your brain doesn't need to be getting fucking shook.
Reports are now emerging that are deeply concerning. People close to Fabio Wardley are being told, and medical experts are echoing the same concerns, that if he does not take a long break from boxing, the sport may end up making that decision for him. Everyone who watched the fight against Daniel Dubois saw Wardley absorb an incredible amount of punishment.
Yeah. Should it have been stopped? Yeah, I think so.
Who's responsible? Because it seemed like Howard Foster was thinking about it, but he didn't want to make that call.
Who said it again?
Howard Foster looked like he was thinking about it, but he didn't want to make the call.
Well, he did.
Eventually, yeah.
And then he called the doctor twice, and, you know, look. And Fabio, some of these people say it shouldn't be stopped, but everybody's got an opinion. But, you know, when they're in brutal fights like that, it's better be...
Frank Warren even suggested that the fight may have been stopped too late. Wardley's trainer, Ben Davison, shared the same opinion after the Daniel Dubois fight. I actually agree that the fight should have been stopped earlier. I didn't see Fabio stumble before he walked over to the doctor at the start of round 10. Ironically, we were discussing having the towel ready, but by then he had already gone over to see the doctor and seemed much steadier on his feet, which is what we all saw. It's an incredibly difficult job to find the right balance and choose the perfect moment to stop a fight like that when your fighter is still responding and fighting back.
Some people online calling you an email champion. What's your response to them?
Yeah. Look, it's fair enough. If that's people's thoughts or opinions, whatever else, I've got no time to try and convince people otherwise. Like, I did a job against Joseph Parker. I picked Daniel as a voluntary for a reason, to again prove myself. Not that I need to, but fine, no worries. I'll tick that off, and then on the end, come the end of Saturday night, come the fight, my hand will be raised, and the word paper champion will.
Wardley himself spoke about this before the fight even happened. He looked into the camera and admitted that he was probably entering the final third of his career. He said he was still learning, still developing, and still figuring things out. He said it with calm confidence. The confidence of a man who had finally reached the top of the sport and understood exactly how difficult the journey had been. Then, on Saturday night in Manchester, boxing showed him a side of itself that he had never experienced before.
Fabio's face was a mess, the nose had gone, the eye had gone, the doctor had two good long hard looks at him, let him continue. Do you think there's a case to be made that fight should have been stopped earlier, or is it because of what we've seen Fabio do in the past, you have to give him every chance? What's your view?
Both. Fight should have been stopped earlier, but there's always that feeling of, but if we stopped the Parker fight earlier, he would have lost. If we stopped the Justice Sooners fight earlier, he would have lost. So I suppose that's how they're looking at it, but heavyweight boxing, isn't it? So one fight, 1 round, 1 punch can change anything.
I believe I heard it was quite loud in here, there's a rematch clause. Do you have any interest in seeing that running back?
I want to see it. Run it back. Why not? End of the year, they're going to obviously wait for Wardley's nose to heal up. But yeah, run it back. See what's there.
The reaction after Wardley versus Dubois was unlike anything usually heard after a heavyweight title fight. People were not discussing tactics or arguing about the scorecards. Instead, they were debating whether Fabio Wardley should have been pulled out of the fight much earlier. Former two-weight world champion Carl Frampton said he believed the contest should have been stopped before round 11. One of Britain's most respected boxing analysts also pointed out that there were clear limits to what Wardley could physically endure by the final round. When respected voices begin saying things like that immediately after a fight, it is clear that something serious happened inside that arena.
Should it have been stopped? Yeah, I think so.
Who's responsible? Because it seemed like Howard Foster was thinking about it, but he didn't want to make that call.
Who said it again?
Howard Foster looked like he was thinking about it, but he didn't want to make the call.
Well, he did.
Eventually, yeah.
And then he called the doctor twice, and, you know, look. And Fabio, some of these people say it shouldn't be stopped, but everybody's got an opinion. But, you know, when they're in brutal fights like that, it's better be.
Frank Warren, who has promoted heavyweight boxing for more than 40 years and called this the greatest heavyweight fight he has ever promoted, confirmed something significant after the final bell. There is a rematch clause in the contract. He praised both fighters for their incredible heart, toughness, and determination, describing it as an unforgettable fight. That is exactly the kind of language you would expect from a promoter who wants to see the fight happen again. But the biggest question everyone was asking was whether Fabio Wardley's body would ever be ready to answer that challenge again.
Where's Charlotte? Where's Charlotte? Sit down. Sit down.
By the time referee Howard Foster stopped the contest just 28 seconds into the 11th round, Wardley was still standing. Think about that for a moment. He was not lying on the canvas. He was still on his feet. But his right eye had swollen completely shut. Blood was pouring from his nose, and his face had become a crimson mess. The ringside doctor had already checked on him several times during the later rounds, including before rounds 9 and 10, yet Wardley continued to fight. That tells you everything about his courage, and everything about the punishment his body absorbed that night.
Was without a doubt, I mean, guts, soul, they gave everything. They did not leave anything out. And if you see it in between the rounds, we got a monitor in front of us, and you're looking at the shots both of them were taking. I don't know how they did it. I take my hat off to Fabio, who's an absolute warrior, and Daniel, who's an absolute warrior, and has shown what a warrior he is.
There is another side to this story because Daniel Dubois, the man responsible for all that damage, almost did not survive the opening moments of the fight. Wardley knocked Dubois down within the first 10 seconds after the opening bell. Before the crowd had even settled into their seats and before the commentators had fully settled into the broadcast, Fabio Wardley marched to the center of the ring and dropped Daniel Dubois to the canvas. The atmosphere inside Manchester's Co-op Live Arena exploded.
Oh, Dubois down! Oh my god! A huge right hook from Fabio Wardley! He's down already! Oh my god! Wow, that's crazy!
Oh, and Dubois just rugby tackled Wardley to the floor. That was crazy. Predictability with that one too. He's throwing the same combination every time. There's a right hand from Wardley. He shook Dubois. Dubois taking a knee. He's got him again with that right hook. Wow, that right hook is what's getting Dubois. They know there's the potential for an amazing comeback here for Fabio Wardley. Oh, Dubois rocks into disputes. Referee Howard Foster steps in and stops it. Dubois wins. It's a TKO stoppage. What a performance from Daniel Dubois. Fantastic. Absolutely deserved that, Daniel Dubois. He boxed really.
Round 3, and it happened again. Wardley landed another crushing punch that sent Dubois down to one knee. Dubois needed the full count before getting back to his feet. At that stage, Wardley had already scored 2 knockdowns. Championship-level power was on full display, and it looked as though the fight was heading in only one direction. Wardley appeared ready to write one of the greatest chapters in British heavyweight boxing history. He had the champion's instinct, perfect timing, and devastating power. It genuinely looked as though the fight might end very early.
British boxing at the minute, 2 knockout punches, it's an all British heavyweight title fight. Dubois is probably more proven. He's been heavyweight champion before. Wardley, he is now the champion. He got given the title after beating Parker. Now it's his chance to prove that he is, the guy. It's a real 50-50.
This is what makes the retirement discussion so difficult. Before a single punch had been thrown, Wardley explained exactly why he chose Daniel Dubois as his first mandatory title defense instead of pursuing other available options. He said he selected Dubois because he represented the greatest challenge. He wanted to test himself against the toughest opponent and earn the greatest recognition. It was a deliberate decision to step into the fire. As it turned out, that fire burned even hotter than almost anyone expected. Between rounds 3 and 11, Dubois produced an extraordinary comeback. He recovered from 2 knockdowns, moments that would have finished most heavyweight fighters, and fought his way back into complete control. He found his rhythm in the middle rounds and began landing the powerful right hands that have made him one of the most feared punchers in the division. By round 4, Wardley's right eye had already started swelling from the damage, and it only became worse as the fight continued.
It was noticeable. He looked big. It was the first thing I said. He looks heavy, and then it turned out it was the heaviest he's ever been. So, I mean, I'm guessing that that's probably been part of the game plan, and they want to be heavy. Potentially means, you know, seeking destruct mode, which is kind of what he's been saying anyway all week. But he was noticeably bigger, I thought. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'm not sure yet.
What do you think that means for the later rounds, if it indeed does get there?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be harder. If you can imagine it's like having an extra 10 pounds in a backpack. It's going to be tougher, isn't it? So, it's interesting, but let's see if it's a good thing or bad.
The biggest question now hanging over British boxing, and the one people close to Wardley are quietly asking, is how much this fight truly cost him physically. The punishment he absorbed during the championship rounds is not something a fighter simply recovers from within a few weeks. Repeated blows to the head, a completely swollen shut right eye, continuous bleeding from the nose, and multiple medical examinations during the fight have all raised serious concerns. The reports now circulating are clear. Those closest to Wardley are urging extreme caution, and more importantly, they believe he should take a long and extended break away from boxing. One of the most emotional moments came after the stoppage when Wardley leaned against the ropes and looked toward his family. His mother, Shawnee Lee, was there. He immediately told her, "I'm okay. I'm okay." She replied by telling him that she loved him and that she was proud of him. In a sport filled with brutal and emotional moments, that exchange stood out because it showed exactly what this fight had taken from him. It was about far more than collar route rather than the traditional amateur system. Losing a title or damaging an unbeaten record. It was deeply personal. Wardley reached professional boxing through the white-collar route rather than the traditional amateur system. His journey began in community gyms and local halls, following a path very different from most British boxing prospects. He won the WBO heavyweight title by stopping Joseph Parker at London's O2 Arena and was 31 years old when he fought Daniel Dubois and had never lost as a professional before that night. His record stood at 21 fights, 1 draw, and no defeats. He won the WBO heavyweight title by stopping Joseph Parker at London's O2 Arena in October 2025 and looked every bit like a fighter performing at the absolute peak of his career.
The doctor was atrocious. That and in cahoots with Howard Foster, who should not have been allowed to listen. To beat a dead horse, I'm going to do it because I've had a few drinks and I really don't give a shit. How do you stop the Joseph Parker fight in favor of Fabio Wardley and not stop this one in 8, 9, 10? How do you do that? Explain it to me like I'm a child. Explain it to me like I'm a child, Howard Foster. How do you not stop this fight? That man was getting beat up, and he was getting hurt in ways